you know. And if you don't know, I'm not really a Instagram person. I'm more of a Facebook. I'm over there with like the gym and gymettes, so that's where you'll usually find me. But I've really been trying to use at least Insta stories to kind of give an update of where I'm at or what I'm doing for the day, like all of you guys do. But I don't know. But I did go on there today, and I posted a little Q&A box and said, ask me whatever your little heart desires, whether it be personal questions or random whatever. So that is what we are going to be doing today. And then I went over to Facebook and asked if you guys would like to hear it in my ASMR voice or my normal voice, and it was kind of 50-50, so I'm going to be switching back and forth to a soft whisper to a softly spoken voice. So with that being said, family, go grab a snack or whatever else, and let's jump right into it. The usernames are changed up just a little bit for privacy, but they stay relatively the same. So if you think you're hearing your username and you know you asked me a question, it's probably you. So first question is from the Morion. Did you know life was going to change so much? Like inside? Did you just know? So, back when, and again, if you are new here, this might not make sense to you, so I suggest maybe going and looking back a little bit on our channel. I can maybe put some links down below if I do get a question like that. But when my kids were not in my care at the time, and life was pretty much at rock bottom, there was a point where I was like, it can't get any worse. I was just starting our YouTube channel, and I was growing, at least on our channel, but in my personal life, it was pretty much hell on earth. Something wasn't right. That people from my husband's side of the family and my personal family and just overall people surrounding me did not want me to succeed at all. And I was thinking, but I've already explained my situation, and other people have explained my situation for me on the internet, but other people want to see me succeed. Something has to give, and something inside me told me that something was going to change, whether that be getting my kids returned to my care or something happening with a budding YouTube channel. I knew something positive was on the horizon, and lo and behold, here we are. So yes, I just knew. I felt something was going to change, and it came with a positivity. So I hope that answers your question, Maria. Next angel, because it's the username. Next question. Oh, I used a ballpoint pen, so it's all inky. Tough Angel. Will you ever tell Satori's birth story? So, for those of you who don't know, I have kids. I have two, count them, 2 marshmallows. One's named Odin, and the other one's named Satori. Odin is 6, Satori is 5, just to clear that up. I've told my son's birth story many times, and I really do believe I've told my daughter's birth story a few times at least, but the reason I kind of stay away from her story is because it was a very bad experience, but I'm happy to tell a short version right now. And if you would like to hear more of this story, please comment down below. And I'm happy to oblige. I think that's the word. I always like use words that I think are going to like sound intelligent, and ultimately it gets me nowhere, but that's okay. But anyway, I had Satori on May 16th, 2014. I had gone to the methadone clinic early in the morning, and I was at a dose very high. Satori was eating all of the medication. Now, again, if you are unfamiliar with my past, and you're just like, wait a minute, what? There's a very large story behind this, but anyway. And I was on such a high dose, it was like kind of the end of my pregnancy. I was feeling rough. My husband was working 12-hour days. I was stuck with his mother, my mother-in-law, who, if you are aware, you know how bad that is. So, my father had just passed away 2 weeks beforehand, which sent me into early labor, so it was that morning. I woke up feeling terrible. Like, I woke up feeling ill. Like something, like my stomach was sick. Just something was wrong. Now, I knew I was, about to go into labor with Odin. I was dilated 5 centimeters. I was stuck with Satori, 1 centimeter for, like, I think it was a week and a half, or a week. Long story short, I remember going back to the house, and my mother-in-law took Odin for the day. I needed to get some sleep. I laid down, and I'm not even kidding you, like maybe a half hour later, I sprung up out of that bed. And I was like, I had this anxiety, and unfortunately, panic and anxiety has remained. It's gotten a lot better, but since my father passed of a massive heart attack, which was so random, I fear that naturally now, so constant anxiety. I was thinking from the day he died until today that my heart's gonna randomly stop, but I know. So I sprung up out of bed. I freaked out. I was like, I am in labor. I'm in labor. I wasn't having any contractions. Like, I was just like, I'm in labor. I gotta go. I called my mother-in-law and her husband, Buck. My stomach gets physically ill when I talk about these people. Like I'm not gonna swear, but it makes me ill. Like, I don't wish bad upon anybody, even my worst enemy or my stalker, any of those people. I just don't. I don't care for them, but I don't wish any harm. But when it comes to my husband's mother, she picked me up. They picked me up. They kept telling me, you're not in labor. Like, your dad just died. You're not in labor. You're fine. So, they drove me down to the hospital. They didn't even, like, they didn't come in right away. They're just like, she's fine. She's having an anxiety attack. But upon going in, and they checked my cervix immediately, and they're like, you're in labor. I went from 1 centimeter. Did I just make the mic go? Okay. I went from 1 centimeter, I think it was to like 5 or 6 centimeters in like a few days, because I had an appointment the week before. I believe, don't take that for like what it is. I don't really remember much, but they got me ready. They called my husband, took me into the labor room, and so my heart rate from earlier when I woke up racing, and they couldn't figure out what it was, kept going and going and going and going. I don't remember exactly what it was up to. 180. I don't know, but it was enough to where they had to give me a medication to slow down my heart rate, which ultimately slowed down Satori's heart rate extremely slow, which labored her breathing, which caused for a suggested C-section. Anyway, so my mother and I were having problems at the time. I am like 10 minutes into this. And look, guys, if you guys want like a longer version of this where I can get better information and look at the, papers and everything, basically what happened, my heart was severely, like, racing. I was not only in labor, but having a panic attack. My father just died. My mother-in-law was doing everything in her power to make it the most miserable labor I'd ever had. The nurses in the room had no idea what was going on. They almost had to give me a C-section. They were going to cut me. They gave me 2 epidurals. Like one the first time it didn't kick in, so they gave me like more into it. I don't know. I didn't even feel Satori come out, and she was never given to me. She was immediately taken to the NICU for labored breathing, and yeah. So being on methadone as well, she suffered from withdrawals, but it's a horrible birth. It was a horrible, miserable time. My son was completely different. Now, a happier part, or a happier note, is my son and daughter and all of us live in a intact, happy family to this day. I get really in a bad mood from even remembering these things, so if you want a full story time, please comment down below. I could make that my next story time on our side channel. So with that being said, let's just skip that question. It was a miserable fucking birth, so. But my daughter is healthy to this day, and thankfully she didn't suffer. So, Burba asks, what is your favorite thing about doing ASMR and YouTube? Simple, you guys. So, as somebody who doesn't invite anybody in their personal life in, besides my husband, having a YouTube family, why I always call you guys family, is because I can get on here and talk to you about my birth story if I wanted to. For some reason, I explained, a moment ago about how everybody, like, on my husband's side of the family wanted me to fail, but I had a YouTube channel that for some reason was growing. For some reason, so many of you were interested in my story, and you knew something was wrong, so the support alone is I will never be able to explain that feeling. I will never be able to explain the contentness and the support that I have received from all of you. You watching this, I have never in my life felt so much love and support from a group of people than I have on YouTube. So making videos and being able to get a message back saying that I helped somebody who was, thinking of doing something bad that night, but instead was able to fall asleep to something I had done, is humbling. As somebody who's felt worthless all their lives, and as somebody who just, I don't think I've ever felt true love until, obviously, I met my husband and I had my kids. But the third time in my life that I had ever felt true love was during the time right before my kids were about to be returned, and the support that I got from all of you guys, it's overwhelming. So with that being said, that's my favorite thing. My favorite part about doing YouTube is waking up and knowing that I do have a purpose. Besides being a mother, I do have a purpose to help somebody, and that somebody hopefully is you. So, next question. I don't know if it's not addict, like drug addict, it's like addict00. But again, I changed these up a little bit. What do you think about Shane Dawson's documentary? So, it's funny because I literally got on Twitter, I forget where, my husband and I, we were taking the kids and my niece to the drive-thru to see the new Lion King, which, by the way, you're wrong. If you say the new Lion King's garbage, like, you're wrong. Like, I'm kidding. But, and we just got back, we were changing, we were gonna go pick up some groceries for their sleepover and then go to the drive-in stand. I get on Twitter often, I do, but I never really, look at my mentions or anything like that, but I clicked the homepage, and, all these ads for karunadanielsatori was like, you're in Shane Dawson's new docu-series, and then I'm like, oh my god, I didn't know it was about Eugenia Cooney, and, you guys know about that video I made, back, I think it was 5 months ago, because I know that it was directly after she posted it on her Twitter, that that she was getting help, and I click on it, and all you hear is like my voice, and I like got really sad because it said, I didn't read the title, I just hurried up and clicked. I seen Eugenia Cooney's face and Shane Dawson's face. I'm like, oh no, something's wrong, and I click on it, and it's my voice, and I was like, oh like, wow, that's really cool. And it's not really, I mean, no, I take that back. It's great that he featured me in his docuseries, but the reason for that is not just, you know, the fact I was in a Shane documentary. It's the fact that I reached Eugenia Cooney. Like, I remember when I filmed that video, I was sitting, my husband and I just got into an argument at home that night. It was a really bad night. I'm like, I am fucking leaving. Like, I'm going to Dunkin' Donuts. So I'm in the drive-thru. It's late at night, like, nobody gives a hell, like, what's going on. They're like, we're just gonna take, like, 3 hours to make your Dunkin' coffee, 7 creams and 2 sugars, so, and my blueberry cake donut, and I'm, like, smoking a cigarette, just sitting there, and I saw Eugenia's Twitter. I was just scrolling through my phone, and I saw it said, I'm voluntarily working on my doctors, or with my doctors for this, and I, like, something, like, do you know that feeling where you're like, I need to piss, or, like, you immediately, like, a UTI, you have to go to the bathroom real quick. I was like, I need to do something. I need to tell her, like, she's supported. Like, I need to let her know she's loved, because I'm getting so tired, and I know that's another question on here, so I can save it, but I'm getting really tired of people. It's nobody's, oh my god. The moment that documentary came out, but let me finish the other part first. So I pulled over, and I had my cigarette, and if you look at the video, I was wearing a 90s hoodie, and I had no makeup on, which I rarely do videos with no makeup on, or looking the way I did, but I wanted to let Eugenia know, like, as a human, I was like, you don't know my story, you don't know who I am as a person, and you don't need to know, and I didn't mean it, like, in a rude way, just to know that there is another human being on this planet that loves you, and cares about you, and that was it. And the fact that it was the intro was awesome to hear, because of the fact that she heard me, she had to hear me, she had to watch it, so that was very nice. So that's the answer. But what was it, like 2 hours after, or like a day after, that Jacqueline Glenn had to get on, and it's not Jacqueline Glenn, it's her boyfriend, who is literally, and there's another question on here I'll explain, but he literally said in these quotes, he's like, this is the most traumatic experience of my life. And no, I'm kidding. Eugenia Cooney is not your experience. Like, she needed help, she did, but it's not stop making it about you. I can't stand when people, let's just move on. We'll get into it in a bit. Overall, though, that Jacqueline Glenn video, after watching it and understanding, of course, I believe something was wrong with her parents. I commented on one of her videos where her sleep, okay, it's not my business. It's not. This doesn't even go with the question, but I'm gonna say it because everybody's, like, recently starting to notice that I'm collecting babies. If you guys have ever watched Bob's Burgers, and he's like, I had to take away the credit card because you kept buying all those porcelain babies. I'm gonna link it down below. And then it cuts off, and she's like, if you're not real, then how do you make me feel this way, little babies? But the question's by Leslie Arias, and it is, what is one of the best and one of the worst things about reborn collecting? There is another question on here about reborn babies, so I am actually going to put that to the side for now, okay? So we will answer that question and the other one together in a bit, because it's important. Next question is by Ashley Lee, and I love you too, Ashley. But what is your all-time favorite movie? I have had about 4 all-time favorite movies in my life, and Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind has always been number 1, because Joel and Clementine were each other's person, anybody in my whole life who was my person until I met Victor, which is my current husband. And although we are in an open marriage, which when I say that, I don't ever want anybody to think that it's a constant thing where we are like having relations with other people. It's every once in a while, but it does happen, and we are comfortable with it. But moving along with that, the reason that movie was always so special to me was because they were just each other's person, and no matter how hard they tried to forget, they always found each other. And until I met Victor, you know, I would always watch, like, other guys would try to get me to watch that movie. Oh god, you guys, my past, man, I need to make a video. But anyway, so my all-time favorite movie now, but the 4 favorite video, you guys are like, this is a horrible video, but the 4 favorite movies were Magnolia, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, Buffalo 66, and Vanilla Sky. My all-time top favorite right now is, and will probably will always be, is Vanilla Sky with Tom Cruise, and is it Penelope Cruz, or like, I don't know, but put my big old thigh up here. My husband, the only time I've ever seen him cry was at the birth of our kids, and, well, I've seen him cry two other times, but nothing as dramatic as the birth of our kids and the first time we ever watched Vanilla Sky. Like, that is, my husband bawls at the end of that movie every time, and he always tells me at the end, he's like, I never want to lose you, and I don't know, that's just so, oh my god, it's so precious. Everything is so precious, and he's like, I love you and you're dead. And then it plays that song by Sigur Rós. I don't know how to pronounce it, but beautiful movie. Let's not make it too long. MJ Fab asks, what is a story you've always wanted to tell, but were never able to tell it, never knew how to tell it? I just talked about this the other day. That's why this question's really funny to me. It's not funny at all, but it's actually a really good question. Like, ask yourself that. What is a... I keep looking back here at whatever this is, right? Oh, it's like a fake leaf. But anyway, it's a good question. Ask yourself that question. What's a story you could never tell because you just didn't know how to tell it? But the other day, we ran into our mother-in-law at Walmart, and it was a disaster, and I went home and I made a status about it on Facebook for all the Jim and Jimettes, and I said, you guys would know what I'm talking, just look it up, it's cute. But the story of my kids, the full real story of my kids, and how and why they were taken away, what happened during the time they were gone, between myself, family members, and my kids themselves, and the return of them. Now, if I were to ever sit down and tell that story, which I've been really thinking about it lately, because I've been noticing I've been having some really fucking bad, hateful feelings against my mother-in-law. A lot more things have been being brought up lately by other family members, and things I didn't know about that were going on. And I said in that status something along the lines of, I don't know how I would tell that story. That is a story I've always wanted to tell, because there is so much information and so many things that people don't know that I want you guys to know. How to make everybody appear at least relatively normal. I don't want anybody to appear like they're a victim, because ultimately I am the one who caused my children being taken away from me. Again, for those of you who don't know, the main reason was my father had just died. A year before, June 15th, 2015, or May 15th, I think it was the day they were removed. Long story short, I lost it when my dad died, gave up on everything. House was a mess. And someday, I have, photos of all this and videos of, my kids. But, if you look at it, there was always love there, but the house was a mess. It was horrible. Long story short, I just want to be able to tell that story fully without making myself appear as a victim afterwards, or for making even my mother-in-law look bad, even though she is just the worst human on this planet. I want everybody to know the story and understand it and be able to make your own assumptions, because a lot of what is that word? I can't even think. A lot of very messed up things were going on behind the scenes when my kids were taken, on how they can stay taken, and it was just very bad. But what's really cool about that story is the ending of it, which it's beautiful, and I really hope someday to tell that story. So if you would like to hear that story, maybe comment down below. I can, the birth of my... I feel like, though, whenever I want to tell a story to you guys, like, a lot of it's always miserable. Like, I have great funny stories, like with my kids growing up, and with festival stories, just funny things. But whenever it comes like deep down stories, they're like really traumatic. And I'm very like open, though. I want to tell these stories. I have some indigestion, but I don't want to edit this video because I'm talking about... Okay, so that is the story. I'm like taking hours on these questions, but Elliot the Idiot asks, how are you doing? Well, indigestion, but how are you doing? Like, really? Elliot, I am doing amazing lately. My mental health is the best. And that's another question on here. Yeah, it's on the next page. My mental health has been incredible. My life has been amazing. We are so close to being able to finally purchase a home without a mortgage, and the reason that that's so important is because of the feeling of security, if that makes sense. Never having an income. A few years back, 2016 was probably the worst year of my life in regards to money. We were broke, and it's such a long story, but we couldn't even afford rent. So my dream had always been to own my own home and be like, I don't have to pay this home off with a mortgage. Like, I don't want any bills except for like the electric and gas and things like that. Not being able to afford rent is like a horrible feeling, and I know many of you understand what that feels like. It's like anxiety that creeps up on you every single day. Like, it's getting closer to the due date. It's getting closer to the due date. Is my landlord going to be upset? Is this and that? So knowing that we're close to being able to buy our own home is really, really exciting because of the feeling, again, of security for me as somebody who's been through that a lot. And overall, everything else has been amazing. It's really been good. And whenever I say, I was going to talk about this in a video about how I never knew what happiness was until the past few years. The past couple years, I finally understood what happiness is because of contentness. Like, my mom always asks me, she's like, why don't you move to the beach like you want to? And we do. Like, someday we will move to the beach, but I kept telling myself I wanted to move to the beach because I'd be happy there. But then I kept thinking, like, what is it that's going to make me happy at the beach other than where I'm at now? And the only answer I could come up with was the water. Because I love the beach, I love the water, but then there's that alarming fear of a tsunami, but okay. But anyway, and then it like made me realize I'm content where I am. I am so fucking happy in my life right now. I love where I live, and we love the school district our kids are in, and my son and daughter get to sit with each other on the bus this year and probably beat the shit out of each other, but that's okay. I'm so content, and I keep thinking to myself, what is it that I need right now in life? And I don't need anything right now. I'm so good where I'm at right now, and God, let me not jinx this, knock on wood. But I'm just doing good. Like, that's all I've got. You know what I mean? I don't have any dramatic stories. I don't have any, as of right now, I don't have anything bad going on in my life. Everything is good, and I'm content. But when I mentioned earlier about some feelings being brought up about my mother-in-law, that's because I've never been able to talk about what's happened in the past couple years, like fully. Like that's, with the story question. So, but Elliot, I'm doing great. Thank you for asking. Melissa Marie Taylor, current favorite YouTuber. So I have made my way back to an ASMR, Minx Laura 123. She's always been my favorite YouTuber and always will be. But other than that, Petty Page. I really like her drama videos. I love watching like drama channels. It's hilarious. Except for Peter Mon. But that's another question on here. But next question is Graceful Kafifi. And I love you too, Graceful. And her question was, what is your go-to Dunkin' Donuts order? Every day, I'm going to ask it in the way that I order it. Hi, can I get a multigrain bagel, toasted lightly with strawberry cream cheese on the side, please? And may I also have 2 orders of hash browns and a medium hot coffee with 7 creams and 2 sugars. Thank you. That will be $6.53 every single day. That is a horrible habit to have when you're trying to save money. But that is my go-to Dunkin' order. And twice a week, because it's on the weekends, my daughter and my son will both get, my son gets a cinnamon raisin bagel with strawberry cream cheese on it, sliced, not toasted, and an order of hash browns, and my daughter will get a chocolate frosted donut with sprinkles and an order of hash browns, and that's it. My husband gets a multigrain bagel. I used to get cinnamon raisin bagel for like 10 years, but now it's been worse. Multigrain. And then the last question on here is, it's Hannah. I love you too, Hannah. What makes you so attached to reborns? Oh, that was that question. Oh yeah, there it is. Okay, so we can get into the reborn now. That is so funny. So, many of you recently have noticed that I'm starting to collect reborn dolls, and if you don't know what a reborn doll is, watch the documentaries they have on YouTube. They're fascinating. And when I first saw these babies, okay, so reborns are basically dolls made to look as lifelike as possible. My obsession came from silicone reborn. This is such a long story, you guys. That's a whole world on its own. I would love to make a video on our side channel, about reborn collecting. I'm leaving the, indigestion and burps in this one. I'm sorry, guys. I want this to be a raw, Q&A, so. My mother, refuses to drink water, so I'm like, can you drink these? The mini ones, ridiculous, but anyway, she's funny. Reborns are made to be as realistic as possible. I had to edit. Okay, anyway, reborns are made to be as realistic as possible. Look up reborn doll. There is so much in the community, but the question was, what makes you so attached? At first, I didn't know. I just saw these babies, and I was like, little babies, same as Bob's Burger skit. I'm so including that down below, but the reason that I wouldn't say attached, it's not really, it kind of is an emotional thing, but at the same time, it's more for collecting. I really like them. I think they're beautiful pieces of art, but recently I got one, and you guys know I did an unboxing of one, and then I have one on our other channel. I did an unboxing that was a scam, but I didn't do an unboxing of the one I have now, which I will actually include a picture right here. So for those of you who are familiar with reborns, and if you're not, in order to find out who the doll was made by, or what kit it is, and kit basically means the sculpt of a doll, whether it be the arms, legs, and head, or a full body cast silicone sculpt, the doll you just saw was Tayona by Alina Westbrook, the kid was, and the artist was Virginia Comish, Virginia Comish, and when I saw that doll, I got really big emotion, and I couldn't understand what it was. I was like, I need it. So I ordered it, and I got a really big discount on it because I paid up front. Silicone reborns are expensive dolls, and I was like, when I got it in the mail, I was like, I cannot let go of this. And what's really cool about reborning is my daughter and I we love like, not playing with them per se, but she likes, we like changing them, and like she treats it like her, baby, and I treat it like, it's my baby. It's cute role playing, doesn't hurt anybody, and my kids love it. My son kind of laughs, but he's a gamer. He's gonna grow up to be the next like PewDiePie 2.0, only a little bit more obsessed with games. But anyway, so I kept saying like, why this doll? Like, this is such a cool doll, and I have other ones, but I don't like have an attachment or a feeling to it where I'm like, I want to care for this doll. And the other day, my husband was like, I know why you love that thing so much. And I was like, why? And he's like, it looks just like Odin when he was first born, and I'm going to put them side by side right here. It's crazy. Like, I was like, oh yeah. And the reason I guess I kind of like really enjoy reborns is because, and holding them and like changing them, is because, to be honest, I missed out on all of that when my kids were babies. Both of my children, again, were NICU babies because of methadone maintenance. My daughter, with her birth, had labored breathing and a lot of things wrong because of the birth. I never got skin-to-skin contact much. It was a very depressing time in my life, and I missed out on my babies. And then I got fixed, so I can't have any other children. And I was having baby fever really badly in spring into current. I had made an appointment to get my tubes untied because my tubes were tied before 2014, or I'm sorry, in 2014, and I think it was either 2016 or 14 that they are now permanently tying tubes, meaning you can't get it reversed. I thankfully only had mine burned and clipped, or they were clipped and then just a little bit burnt at the ends. Now, if they were completely singed, it would pretty much be really hard to get them together again, but thankfully mine can be reversed, and we still do have the appointment in September, but it's $10,000 cash. There is no insurance that covers it. It's, it's like a plastic surgery. So we keep thinking like, do we really want another baby? For what reason though? To have what we missed with our own kids because of our actions, or what is it? So when I came into the reborn community, that's my personal reason that I kind of didn't explain much of it, but I might as well be honest. It's nothing to hide, and it's nothing to be ashamed of. It's not like I obsess over them and like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, but that's pretty much the reason why I collect reborn dolls now. But I wouldn't say collect, because ever since we found that doll, like, that is my doll. And yes, I know it's a doll, so we can move on. But I hope that explains a little bit. Really deep things get into here. But anyway, the other question by Leslie was, what is one of the best and one of the worst things about reborn collecting? The best thing is whenever you finally get the doll. Like, you're like, I'm gonna unbox this. And everybody usually does unboxings with them where they put clothes and things you open first, and then you do the reveal. It's really fun. But the worst thing is whenever photos are online and they're not the exact same. Like, they're nothing compared to the photos, and you pretty much lost a lot of money, so it's probably the worst. And another bad thing about the reborn community is whenever you see a doll that's way too expensive, and you know that you can't afford that, or whenever somebody tags you on eBay and gets your bid. That's pretty much it, though. So, those were the two questions. Let's continue. Go Crazy Alley asks, update about your stalker. He has not bothered me every once in a while on my Patreon, he like never commented on my only video. My teeth look so yellow in this video. I promise they're not yellow. The bottom one's my retainer, so it makes it look that way. I think it's the color of my shirt, but my justification for being a smoker. I haven't heard anything about him in the past couple months, but yeah, every once in a while he'll get on like my Patreon and he'll be like, do you have that $32,000 you owe me? And like every time it just goes up and up and up and up and up. And for those of you who don't know, the reason he became my stalker was, well, he was before that. Oh my god, you guys, you have to watch my stalker story. You'll know. I can't go into this. It will take hours. But to update you, no. I haven't heard from him. Last time I heard, he was like selling women out of his home and smoking crack. So, about that. Emily B. Singh was, what was your family's reaction to you doing ASMR? Now, this was years ago. Nobody understood it. Nobody thought it was a career. Nobody thought, and it wasn't at the time when I first started it. I wasn't making any money. They were just like, we don't get what this is. And whenever my kids got taken, my mother-in-law took my channel to her lawyer and was like, she's whispering into a microphone on the internet naked. Because one of my Reiki videos, I was in like a low-cut shirt. Apparently that means that I was like straight doing like, but we all know. But yeah, it's hilarious. But overall, what's really interesting about that question is in the future, nobody believed in me when I did start making money. Everybody was like, this isn't a job, this isn't an income, like this is nothing. And also being able to, sorry, there's a motorcycle that just went brrr. But anyway, you know, somehow I'm able to support myself and my family, and that's all that matters. Like, I'm content again, but nobody believed in me back then, like not even my family. Okay. Again, that background story. So the first reaction was kind of confusion, but ultimately today they all know what it is, and my brother, who I have no care for, really just doesn't get it. I'll get into it someday. Holly Claire asks, how are your kids? They are such cuties. Thank you, Holly. My kids are great. My daughter starts her first year of kindergarten, meaning she will actually be in school with my son. My son starts first grade this year, and they'll be able to be on the bus together. They'll both be there for 8-hour days, learning, enjoying, and just living. So I'm really, really excited about it. My daughter's finally just starting to learn how to read at 5 years old. My son, for some reason, he's very quick to learn, but my daughter, she's more of a people person, where she's more emotions and feeling people, and just, you know what I mean, takes a little bit more time to learn educationally in regards to like math and stuff like that. So, but they are amazing. They're having a great summer, and that's it. Very loving, cuddly little chitlins. My husband calls them chitlins, which means like a chicken leg or something. Or chicken guts, that's what it is. I'm like, chitlins. But it's cute. They're just happy kids, and they're doing really good. So thank you for asking that. Here's that question. Jenna T, what do you think of the beauty community drama on YouTube? Cancel culture and hate culture are a very real thing right now, nowadays, and I believe that the reason this is happening is because many of us are hurting right now in the world, and whether that be from personal or what's going on with our president, and I'm not even getting into that, I'm just saying there's a lot going on right now. So I think people are on edge, and when they see somebody do something very small wrong, immediately they're like, this person needs to fucking die. But do you know what I mean? What I think of the lipstick dropped. What I think of the beauty community drama, this Jaclyn Hill lipstick thing is unreal. I will start there. The Toddy and James drama is a whole other situation, which was investigated further. It got a little too far with what was going on with James, but this whole Jaclyn Hill stuff is sad. It's really sad how far people have taken it, how far people have like threatened death threats on her, how far. And I've watched the video by Here for the Tea and Tea Spill and all that. I know the past of what she's done, about her collab with, like, I think it was Makeup Geek, and how she strung them along and everything else. And look, I really do think that Jaclyn Hill means well. I do. This lipstick thing went way too far. It's ridiculous. This beauty community drama. Ridiculous. And the drama channels like Peter Mon, who literally, in my opinion, are just continuously bullying Jaclyn Hill. She's never going to be able to make up for her mistakes if we keep bullying her, aka Peter Mon. That's why I don't watch his channel anymore. I think he's a bully. He's made like, I don't know, 30 videos on Jaclyn Hill. I love watching drama channels. I do. And I used to love Peter Mon. We were actually supposed to collab back in the day, but Christ. Long story short, if people like him keep bullying her into silence, how is she ever supposed to make up for herself? So it's pretty sad what this drama YouTube beauty community bull is. It just makes me upset. So let's move on. Maris asks advice on how to accept and get help for your mental health. Okay, so how to accept it, we'll start there. Forever, I told everybody about this. Just a quick backstory. A long time ago, my Aunt Eleanor came over when my pap died, and it was this big thing, and she came over and she's like, nothing in this world is ever as hard as it seems. So with being like, traumatically, like molested, raped in the past, and a lot of things have happened, I always used to say the same thing my Aunt Eleanor did and be like, it's not as bad as it seems, not as bad as it seems. And then I began to suppress it, and years went on, and things began to explode. My best advice to you would be, try to do it while you can. Please sit down and evaluate yourself and your mental health. If you truly believe that something's off and you're just not feeling yourself, or you're just like stuck, kind of like writer's block, if that makes sense, like, how like you're trying to write something you can't think. Same as mental health. If you just don't feel yourself lately, please do it now. Advice on how to accept it is just accept that nobody's perfect. Not one of us are perfect, and we all do suffer from something one way or another. Like, there's no reason to be ashamed for having some kind of, mental health issue, whether it be depression or bipolar. I myself have borderline personality disorder, and that just means my emotions are very, very high, very often, like a lot more deep. But no, and I never wanted to believe that. I'm not like that at all, even though all the symptoms and even the diagnosis stated. But the more I put it behind me, the worse it got. Please, while you can, before it gets either like worse or more suppressed, one day it will explode. For your health and your family and everybody you love or who love you, try to evaluate yourself. Sit down and think, what's wrong with me? Why do I feel the way I do lately? And, how can I fix this? How to get help? So the only thing I've ever been in was a psychologist and a therapist. So if you trust somebody, you can ask maybe if your insurance covers some therapy or, things like that. Advice on how to get help: just talk to somebody you trust, somebody you love. If you don't feel comfortable with that, try to do some research on Google, which is such a freaking ridiculous thing to say, but you know what I mean. It's like, if you don't feel comfortable, I'm not saying go diagnose yourself on the internet. I'm saying look up ways to get help. That's just my advice, so I hope that helps. But please, if you are feeling like something is wrong, please evaluate yourself and get help while you still can. Please. This is by Zoe328. What is is your favorite kind of ASMR? My favorite will always be massages, like real massages on people, and mouth sounds. That's why I love Minx Lore so much. I always have, and it's been mouth sounds like her tongue clicking and everything like that. I love it. And then actually watching people get massaged. Lately I've been really into foot massages. I don't know why. I hate feet. I'm like not a foot person. I don't hate anything, but I don't like feet, and I just don't like my feet. I don't like feet, and watching somebody get their feet massaged though is like really relaxing to me. But anyway, so next question, which ST Forain asks, do you have beef with Ephemeral Rift? When did he say that he doesn't like you? So there is no beef with me and Ephemeral Rift, just like there never was really beef with Tony Bomboni and I will make this short and sweet. He stated he wanted nothing to do with me and a few other female ASMR artists during a collab that him and another ASMR artist was trying to put together. The other ASMR artist suggested my name in person, and he was like, no way. So there's no beef. Like, I don't know him personally. Everybody's different. I was about to say that he would be probably surprised that we have a lot of the same beliefs, but we don't. We just don't. There's nothing I have to say. If he doesn't like me, he doesn't like me. There were 2 female ASMR artists that I have blocked on Twitter who try to contact it. A very bad. I don't believe in them. I don't care. I'm in my lane. They're in their lane. Nada. If somebody doesn't like me in this community, they have to understand I'm not there for them. They're ASMR artists themselves. That's gross. Like, to contact another ASMR artist and be like, when you meet her, you need to be careful. You know what I mean? Like, it's gross. Like, aren't we supposed to be supporting one another in this community? You know what I mean? So, I'm here for you guys, and even if you are another ASMR artist who watches me, that's a different thing. But I'm not here for you. Like, the people who did that, no. But Ephemeral Rift, there's no beef. So with that being said, it was just a really big little, if that makes sense, like a big little situation. Next question. Yukerek asks, do you think you are underrated? I don't think I'm underrated. I think I'm misunderstood. And the reason I say that is because as an ASMR artist, I'm not here just like for sounds. I'm not here just to, making sounds and everything. I have a voice. Like, this platform of us has become very large. I never thought we would reach 800,000, and that's a big number. That's a big, large group of people who are listening to me. Sorry, the battery. Who are listening to me. And why wouldn't I use that platform to, tell my story and, give certain things a voice that don't have a voice? And I just think that when people see me and they notice that I have a lot of past, they don't understand that I'm trying to teach or explain to them that I'm not trying to bring up my past because I want people to know that I was a shitty person. I almost want to stop them from becoming the person I was. So when people, research my name or see me on gossip websites and stuff, and they're like, well, first off, those websites have absolutely no accurate information or any type of proof of anything in the world, but the point is, try to know me and try to listen to my story before making an assumption immediately, if that makes sense. There's a reason for everything and a reason behind everything, and I promise you, there's a reason, I'm here. And yeah, it's not just always for the sounds. It's to help. I just want to help. So, second to last question, or actually last question, I explained the open marriage thing earlier. P. Clark. And P. Clark, I love you and thank you so much for your compliment. But anyway, do you think you will ever vlog a day in the life? So I did one day in the life vlog, and it's actually on our main channel. It was a night in the life of karunadanielsatori. In the wintertime, it was sponsored by Poshmark, and it was really cool. I am surprised it got that many views. Like, I'm surprised you guys really liked that video. It's like really boring, like lock in the car door, walk into the car, like tucking my kids in, like famless stoof. You know what I mean? Stuff I love to do. But overall, besides like being with my kids and my husband, in that empty time of when they're asleep, or, you know, it's quiet in the night, and the animals are laying down and it's just me, it's pretty boring. So the fact that you wanted to hear me or see my life means a lot. But yeah, family, that's pretty much it. The last question was by everyone, which is literally every question I got, was open relationship. And I've explained this story many times. Basically, my husband and I are very open. I don't want to see somebody romantically. I don't want to be in another relationship mentally with somebody. I want to be in a physical one if it comes down to that, and it does. And same with him. We are each other's person, as I stated earlier. He is my person, I am his. I'm his. Like, I've never been able to say that about anyone. It's still weird to this day that I can be like, he's my person and I'm his person. We belong to each other. But sometimes sexually, you know, get bored of each other. We want to experience different things in different people, and there's nothing wrong with that. And we have a very strong bond and strong trust with one another, and I'm very grateful for that. So that's really it. And my best advice on how to not accept that, because if you're not comfortable with that, then you don't have to stoop to that, you know, type of comfort. You don't. Like, if you are a monogamous person, that is who you are. There's nothing wrong with that. What I mean is, if you're open to it and you just don't know how to get into it, or your significant other or you want to try it. For us, it was being able to meet the person that we planned on just hanging out with for a little bit, and it really made me feel a lot better, especially knowing their background just a little bit. My husband was involved in his best friend's sister's life for a while, and knowing, not personally, but knowing who she was brought a lot of comfort, you know, and especially, there's just a lot to it. But basically, to make a long story short, there used to be in our relationship a lot of things going on behind closed doors that were horrible things between both of us, and this was back when our kids were gone, when life was pretty much hell on earth, pretty much. And it's not funny, but you know what I mean, like, it took a lot to be able to sit down and see, like, what do we want, and we figured it out. It's pretty cool. So family, I'm headed out of here, and thank you so much for the questions. There was about 1,000 other ones on the Insta stories, which I'm very grateful for. If you guys would really like to hear those story times about my daughter's birth, and eventually it would have to be like a multiple part series of like me talking about my kids and stuff, but I do hope to open up one day, because there's just so much stuff. But it's nothing that I've ever hidden or I ever will hide. It just, clip. Getting ready to go, I guess. It's just, it's hard. It's stuff I've suppressed for a long time. And a lot of hurt was there between everybody. So, let me know what you want to see, and I'll include that Bob's Burgers clip down below, because it's hilarious. That clip is what my husband shows me all the time. He's like, that is you in the reborn community. So, I don't know, guys. But, just thank you. Just always remember that, okay? Thank you. My ear's really red. Yeah, they are. It's like 90 degrees in this room, but I love you, family. And I love you with all of my person. I will see you tomorrow.